And welcome back to Tech Forge, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nath here, investigating some older hardware in the popular Battle Royale title Fortnite. Some quick backstory: this PC was picked up second-hand here in Geelong by a friend of mine who needed a PC for his son. His son mostly plays Fortnite, so that's the title we will focus on today. The system came mostly complete, only lacking a GPU and a storage drive. Specs-wise, the system is running on an MSI Z77M power board, to be precise, although I'm not sold on MSI's decision to brand the words Big Bang over the VRAM heatsink. With an Intel i7-3770K running the show and decent overclockability, the i7 should be more than enough for running any game they want to throw at this system, especially since I've given it a D-lid with some conductor naught to keep those thermals in check at 4.8 GHz. Speaking of thermals, the venerable old Corsair H100 at 240mm AIO is keeping the peace and should do a decent job cooling the chip. The system is able to call on 16GB of Corsair Dominator 1833MHz RAM, and powering the lot is an 860W Seasonic 80 Plus Platinum power supply, enough to get that green LED strip glowing nuclear green at any rate. Up front is a 180mm fan for intake as well as 120mm rear intake, and exhaust duties are handled out the top through the radiator. To get the system functional for gaming, I sourced the only GPU I have spare, the trusty old Radeon HD 7851 gigabyte Core Edition, which some of you may know was the feature of this channel's first ever video. It's ever so slightly below the recommended Fortnite specs of GTX 660 or HD 7870, and a full gigabyte of VRAM shy. This leads me to ask, will Fortnite be playable at acceptable settings for the user if they borrow the 7850, albeit an overclocked one, until they can buy a better GPU? Well, let's find out. We can already see that with these settings we're using very close to the 1GB, possibly even all of it. So that may introduce some stutters, we'll have to wait and see. So let's try it with the far and mostly medium with anti-aliasing off settings. We've got an uncapped frame limit, full 1080p, no render resolution downgrade there, still at 100%. So let's get in there. This will be the second game I've ever played of Fortnite, and I can't say that I'm very good, but let's have a look and see what sort of frame rate we get. And we're in, folks. Wow, everyone looks so much cooler than me. Look at this guy. He's got really cool... Stop it. Meanies? Let me have one. Don't take it all. How do you do things? Ha ha ha! Now we're cooking with gas. Come here, you turkey. Oh no, we're in the air. Okay, let's look at the frame rates we've got going here. It looks like we're sitting about 80-ish FPS. I suppose here's as good a place as any for this really, really long jump we've got to do. Takes forever. Oh, hello, baby! Rockets! Anyhow, thoughts on how the game's playing. We're playing around the 70 FPS, and it feels pretty smooth so far. This is in no way a tutorial for how to play this game, because I frankly have no idea. I think while I'm out here, I might have this big bloody hand cannon. And we will just... We'll cannon people in the face. Oh, that looks pretty cool. It's a castle, is it? Frame rate still holding above 60 frames per second, not a problem. Everything's nice and smooth. Yeah, hello, hello, hello. Yes. I reckon I've got enough of these now to actually primary weapon this bad boy. Get him! I got him! I killed someone! I killed him! Yeah. And now, go back to rockets. Rackets! I'm a rocket man. Waiting for someone to shoot my ass. Oh no! He face shot me with his shotgun. Oh, that was it. Alright, so that's a wrap. We're using pretty close to the full gigabyte. We could probably try and push a little bit past the gigabyte of VRAM and just see if it introduces any stutter. It might not. Yeah, overall that was a really solid feel to the game. It was smooth, it played beautifully, there was no times where I thought it lagged out at all. It stayed above 60 frames per second the whole time, so I think that's a very strong pass for the 7850. So this time I've increased the textures to high, everything else is set to medium, and the view distance is set at far as it was before. So let's see if we can overload this GPU a little bit and introduce some stuttering. We're in the lobby now, waiting for everyone to turn up, and we're still seeing with these settings, at least at this point in time, above 60 frames per second. Looking at around 60 to 75, thereabouts, depending where we're looking. And now we're in Balloon Bus. It's a really efficient way to travel too. Look, wheel clamps don't even bother this thing. What a machine. Whoever came up with that's a genius. Come on, Vic Transport, whatever you're called. Not V-Line, that's trains. Metro, maybe? I don't know. Bus people, take note. That's where I want to be. I want maximum view distance. I want to wreck this thing. And apparently I have. So, okay, everything's looking a little bit prettier. We're still at the 60 frame mark. Wow, this card is really exceeding my expectations. Let's just say this is probably a much bigger success than I thought it was going to be. So after a lot of messing around, managed to get the overclock to come back. Not sure exactly why it has and why it went in the first place. So while we've got the overclock applied and it's working, let's try it on those increased settings again and see how much above 60 frames we achieve. So far so good. We're in at 1050 megahertz. Just dropped it down 25 to make sure it was nice and stable. Don't get any more crashes coming out of that bus. Bus crashes are bad enough as it is. So far we've left the bus, we haven't crashed. Happy days. People streaking towards the ground. Crazy mother. Looking at frames, yeah, high 70s. Good, good. I'm not going to make it there. I am not going to make that. Damn. Looks like we're running through the woods, kids. Alright, we're getting frames now, high 60s. High 60s as we come into the forest, and I'm stuck in a tree. Fantastic. Now, which way was that magical place? Over here. There's a mushroom. What does that do? It gives me shields. That stands to reason. Mushroom shields. Up. In. Open. Ah! What? Already? That was my plan, you douche. Good plan though, good plan. Alright, so we're sitting above 60, into the 70s, sometimes 80s with these new and improved graphical settings. Really liking the look of it for what it's worth. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And so there we are, the HD 7850 1GB core edition can play Fortnite at decent settings visually and at playable frame rates. The near 200 MHz overclock made some significant and measurable difference over the 860 MHz base clock, which we found out by accident when the overclock just refused to stick. What caused that, I don't know. I know AMD used to have some issues with the R9 series and that when they brought out new drivers, the overclocks wouldn't stick or they wouldn't apply, and it just completely messed a lot of things up. Whether that's happening again, I'm not sure, or whether it's the anti-cheat system that Fortnite employs, whether it's detecting the Reaver Tuner on-screen display and thinking that's a cheat program and trying to intervene there. I'm not sure at all, I'm just spitballing here. But I digress. The main point to take away from all of this is if you've got some older hardware that doesn't quite look like it's up to the task, just have a shot, maybe lower the odd setting or two. Medium settings actually looked quite good. I can't say that I was ever upset with the visuals at all while I was playing. The frame rates were smooth, the frame times were smooth. I thought it was just a really enjoyable experience overall. And as someone who didn't think that they were ever going to really play Fortnite because I never got into PUBG, there's half a chance I might actually take it up. So we'll wait and see, watch that space. But that's enough out of me. I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about the HD 7850 1GB playing Fortnite? So please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. Give us some feedback. Let's hear you out there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.